Orange here, the Ukrainians, and a little bit like the Romanians. They've come with a relatively strong squad earlier in the season, and now here you have the reigning world champions. They were bronze medalists in this particular boat class in 2013. The Russians here, Korovashkov and Peruvkin, were the champions in 2013, and they've reunited for today's challenge. Incolingo and Santini, development group for Italy, France, Bernier and Barth, and closest to will in lane 9 will be the Hungarians. This is Paul Sarudi and Christopher Forgo. Sarugi in particular is a promising paddler. He's in the bow and will be setting the rhythm for the Hungarian-Canadian double. 1,000 meters, so this is an endurance race with tactics. The favorites, or at least the defending world champions, Romania in lane 5. The former European champions in lane 6.
A really clean start for all of them. They're very important in this race because although it's a longer distance, the C2s, the Canadian boats here, very difficult to paddle. You've got to get that set up straight away so it feels good, then they can work into that. I think this is going to be a really interesting race because we've got the likes of the Czechs in lane 2. A little bit disappointing regatta for the Czech Republic so far. They'll want to try and get their first medal for their country. We've got the Germans in lane 3, very, very strong. You can see Romania's looking good there already. So, yeah, really interesting race. But let's see how it pans out now as they settle into their race pace.
Yeah, and it's actually the orange-shirted Ukrainians here who have set out with purpose. Dmitra Yančuk and Taras МІЩУК. And they've got the early advantage. 2 from the top of your picture. There are the Czechs. That's Radon and Dvorak, and they're well up with the pace. And 3 from the bottom, Incolingo and Santini for Italy. Also a decent start. But you're looking here at the Czech duo.
Yes, you can see. I think the Czech TV favouring the Czech paddles a little bit there.
But deservedly.
Well, absolutely. They're paddling well, actually. They need to be able to lift that stroke rate if they're going to get on terms with these paddlers here, who are looking good. Italians got away to a good start. I'm not sure they'll be able to hold that, but that's what they'll be looking to try and do. And everyone really is playing catch-up with the Ukrainians now.
Yes, have they gone too fast? Have they gone too early? Are they going to be able to sustain, or are they using too much petrol early on? The Czechs now beginning to nibble a little bit more at that, but also you can see the Ukrainians, the Russians beginning to move. Korovashkov and Peruvkin, who are just about equal second there with the Czechs.
Yeah, the Italians still there on terms. I think these Italians, I'm expecting them to fade. The Czechs may well, as you can see in picture there, look very controlled. Long stroke at the moment. If they can just get a bit of an overlap with the Ukrainians, it'll really boost their confidence, and they'll sense that they've got a chance here. And you can also see the white bow of the German boat next to the Czechs. The race could really develop over lanes 2 to 4 now.
And the Ukrainians really still very positive as they deep into the third quarter here. And we hear so much awful news coming out of the Ukraine. This is the sort of bright moment for Ukrainian sports fans, isn't it, when you see a crew doing this, because that's clear water still, and only 250 meters to go. And that they have actually extended in that third quarter.
Yeah, that's really impressive. They're dominating this race. They're working hard now. You can see the technique's not quite there, but I think they've got enough distance over the rest of the paddlers. Mind you, having said that,
yeah,
sometimes the wheels fall off in this category particularly.
Well, still the Czechs there, who are now vying with Germany and also Russia for silver and bronze. The Czechs still with the bow just that canoe in silver medal position. Germans challenging them strongly. Russians on the near side, slightly deceptive angle. Ukrainians clinging on. Czechs beginning to come under pressure. That canoe's just wandering a little bit in its lane. Look how close the Germans and the Czechs are between the two of them. Might be an odd red flag coming up here, but hey, hats off to Ukraine. What a fantastic performance. Whoa! And the medals there, Russia getting the silver, denying Germany, and at the end of it, the Czechs only fourth. And that's unofficial.
Yeah, no, but I think I'd agree with you there. I think the Czechs just ran out of it at the end. They put everything they could into that. You know, you can't ask any more than that. But
well, you're supposed to stay in the middle of that lane, aren't you? Both Germany and the Czech Republic were actually off-centre and closer to each other. But
yeah, that sort of happens. You kind of when it's very close, you come towards each other. I don't know whether the judges will have anything to say about that. You're right, yeah, absolutely, especially in this event, because you can end up wash hanging other people and getting an advantage if you move across your lane. You should stay in the middle. If they judge it that it actually wasn't any advantage to either of the crews, then I don't think they'll be disqualified. But the Ukrainians in lane 4, right from the start, led from start to finish there. Dominant race. We've seen that in previous races with the likes of Brendel in the C1, with the Romanians in the women's K2, and that's great. That'll give them a real confidence boost going into the rest of the season.
Well, if they didn't know about the Ukrainian duo of Dmitra ЯНЧУК and Taras МІЩУК, they certainly do now. Europeans. Out on the far side, Hungary in lane 1. Lane 2 here, Янчук and Mіщука. Now, this is the crew in lane 2 to keep an eye on, because they won the 1,000 meters yesterday. Lane 3, Poland, Kaminski and Kudla. Interesting, Poland going well this morning. Romania, and here is Dumitrescu, Mihalaci, silver medalists at last year's European and Worlds. And here the champions, Korovashkov and Ivan Shatil. Now, both of these guys are also Olympic bronze medalists. Belarus here, Saladuka and Maklai, but this is a different outfit to the one that finished 6th for their country last year. Azerbaijan, they were 4th, and Bezugli and Kupan were the partnership that achieved that 4th place in Moscow. And then Yaroslav Radon and Filip Dvorak, bronze medalists at the World Championships 2 years ago, 2013, and they were 4th over 1,000 meters. And now the Turkish crew, the imports, Matvichuk and Aliyev, who now represent their newly adopted country. So on paper and on performance, lanes 2, 4, 5 and 8, 7 and 8 suggests that this could be a fascinating fight, but still Romania and Russia the big favourites.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Russians particularly, you know, over the last few years, they've been a fantastic crew at this and the 200-meter event, so I'm expecting a strong performance from them.
Well, Ivan Shatil, who's in the stern of their boat, 11 World Championship gold medals and 3 European gold medals. And Korovashkov leads away there with Shatil. And this is again a race where you need to get that very quick start.
Yes, you do, and the Russians have got away. They've made the best of it early on now. They've got the stroke rate up and then building into their big, powerful, long stroke, and you can see that every stroke they're just edging away from the other crews. Look like crews from Azerbaijan in lane 7 also got away to a decent start.
Yeah, look at the angles on the Russian crew there, on the body shape and the length of stroke, and they're powering ahead at the moment of the Romanians.
They are. Looks like the Romanians are just picking it up now. Now, what the Romanians need to do is stay in touch with the Russians. If they get further behind, they're going to end up on the Russians' watch, the way that they're kicking off their boat, and they'll have had it. So they need to keep an overlap on them, otherwise the Russians are just going to paddle away and there'll be nothing the Romanians can do about it.
Czechs in lane number 8, 2 from the bottom of your picture, out of your picture at the moment, are in with a shout of a bronze medal. They're very much on their own. You can see them at the bottom of the picture there. They need to improve, but at the moment it's the Russians pulling away from the Romanians, and also is that the Ukrainians? I think the Ukraine there, yeah, coming into 2nd place and eclipsing the Romanians. And remember, the Ukraine were gold medalists in those yellow shirts. They're coming onto the Russians now, and Russia still ahead there from the Ukraine, then Romania. Poland also not out of this. They're in just about 4th place. The Czechs won't be able to medal on this one, but it is the Russians by almost the length of the canoe who come and cheekily float across the line from the Ukraine, and Romania get the bronze. Well, that was very cheeky by the Russians. They soft paddled from what, you know, 4 or 5 meters out.
Yeah, it's a slightly risky strategy. I mean, in this event where the boats are so unstable and people come very late for a charge, but they'd felt they'd done enough. I just wondered whether they'd known that the Ukrainians were up there with them really closing down hard at the end.
So this is the Romanians getting out of the blocks. Both 26 years of age, both of them at the height of their powers, multi-silver medalists at world and European levels, but no match for the Russians.
No, Russians look very strong. They've got a really long and powerful stroke. They can see them in picture now. Really make that count, latch on at the very front of the stroke, dig those paddles in. You can see the boat lift up, and the paddles going in perfect unison. But the Ukrainians in the bright yellow tops did really come hard at the end, didn't they?
They did indeed. They annoyed Eli Muller, the competition director, yesterday with their irregular uniform, shall we say, the Ukrainians. But there's no doubting their prowess on the water.
No, absolutely. Nice to see them. They're fairly distinctive as well. We can easily make them out.
Look at this.
Yeah. And actually, the Russians, they'd done enough, hadn't they? They know they could cruise across the line, but for third place, incredibly close, actually.
Yeah,